am doing the 8th and finale piece from my spoken word series, Hollywood Babylon. This particular piece, you need to know before we start about 3 things. One, it's set in Hollywood where I lived on Formosa, just a half a block from the corner of Sunset and Formosa, and Sunset runs into La Brea, 2 blocks. So you're right in the heart of West Hollywood. The neighborhood was built from the money from Charlie Chaplin, and the classic Warner studio is just down Formosa across Santa Monica Boulevard. The other thing is that I had a very strong math skills growing up, and so I was pushed into math, and I hated math. Being able to do something well isn't necessarily an indication that you're going to enjoy it. I gained a lot of math skills by the time I figured out there was no way I was going to be doing math. This becomes important in the story because it is math that shows me ultimately and provides the title, The Proof of God, for the Bum Trilogy. It's the 80s in Los Angeles, and I'm in a relationship that I'm a little scared of because we're not married, and we're living in Hollywood, and we spend a lot of time with other people. And we hit a very low point. Not only that, I worked over in North Hollywood, only an 18-minute drive, but if you had to take a bus, it required 3 of them, and it became now an hour and a half to be able to go and get there. My car was broken down, my relationship was broken down, my life was broken down, and I started to question whether God even existed. I almost hit that Nietzsche moment. And on top of this, I normally didn't go to work till noon, which suited me very well. But now I have to go to work at 8 in the morning. So that meant getting up at 6 in the morning to be able to get on that bus. And on a Monday morning as I'm taking out, I feel about the lowest I've ever felt in my life. And as I walk up towards sunset, I am truly questioning what God would put me through this. And as that thought races through my head, up at the intersection, I see 2 homeless. But back then we weren't calling them homeless, we just called them bums. And they were approaching each other. And one bum said to the other bum, "Hey, can you spare some change?" And the other bum reacted like he'd been punched. He snapped back and he looked at this guy with a look that just screamed to him, "Hey, I'm a bum!" And the other bum reacted to that because he realized he'd broken the bum code. He asked the bum for change. No one else there to witness it except me. Now, I found that incredibly hilarious. It absolutely sparked my day. And I lived it. Ever so slightly. But by the time I was on the bus, and making my second bus, I began to question God again. I made it through my day, and through that night, and the ugly Tuesday morning came. And I'm trudging out my door, and I'm saying to myself as I hit the corner, "Where are you today, God? Where is it happening today for me? I could use that lift." I mean, that moment yesterday felt like it was those 2 bums and me and you. But it faded. As I walk down Sunset, I go to pass the International House of Pancakes, which used to have beautiful planters out front and a front door. But everything in the planters had died years ago, and people had stopped using the front door in the 50s. As I approached, I noticed that there was definitely something in the planters. As I got closer, I realized it was 2 humans sprawled out in the plant. And as I looked closely, I saw that they were each wearing one shoe from a pair of shoes. And their other foot was bare. And they were sprawled out over the top of them, legs sticking out like plants out of the plant. And I thought, you know, these guys are either the best of friends or the worst of enemies. They either fought to unconsciousness over these shoes, or they shared a pair of shoes. And the lift came a little high. It lasted through the entire bus ride, most of the way through my work day. But what are the chances of something like this happening 2 days in a row? I mean, if you punch numbers, the odds are already long. Third day comes, and I walk out the door. And as I walk up to the corner, I notice the bum from day one, the man whose simple gesture screamed, "I'm a bum!" was standing on his back. But I noticed there was something different. He had a wrinkleness to him. His shoulders were high. His hands were on his hip. He was surveying Sunset Boulevard like it was all he owned. As I got closer, I noticed he had a brand new, clean, eyes-out shirt on. He turned. I saw the alligator. Gave me a little smile. I turned down Sunset Boulevard. I said, "All right, that's pretty good, guy. That's 3 in a row." But what I didn't realize is that every bum that I would see between there and Highlands would be wearing an eyes-out shirt. Somebody had come down Sunset Boulevard with a trunk full of new eyes-out shirts and made sure all the bums looked good. I said, "You got it.